Hello, Erica here, and today I'm bringing you Books I Thought I'd Love, Part 2. I did a Books I Thought I'd Love video back in April when I did Veda, and I'm doing one again because that one got quite a few interesting responses. It was a really fun video. I only have three books in a series to talk about today. These aren't books that I necessarily hated. They're mostly books that I really expected to like, that people told me I was really going to like, and then they just let me down. So without further ado, let's get started. The first book I have is World Made by Hand by James Howard Kunstler. I had been wanting to read this forever and ever and ever. I finally read it last year. I gave it 2 stars. It was not very good. It's set in like a devastated America, and there's this town of people who are trying to get back on their feet. I did like that it took place like many years after whatever nuclear crisis or whatever happened. You don't really know what. Plague, something. Who knows? I liked that it took place long after, so people had kind of resettled. But that's basically what it's about. There's some weird religious themes going on in here that I didn't really like. It was a little preachy. It just was not very good. And I was really disappointed because a lot of people had recommended it to me and I'd heard it talked about a lot. But I did not love it. Next, I have a more recent read. This is An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. I loved Never Let Me Go. And I read An Artist of the Floating World, I think back in June for the TBR Takedown Readathon. And I really expected to like this a lot because I loved Never Let Me Go. I loved his writing. And I really did not like this. I had to force myself to finish this. This is about a man kind of looking back on his life and the decisions that he made in Japan during World War II, and kind of looking back on how that's shaped his life since then. It's very nostalgic. The narrative structure didn't make sense to me. It was kind of like a loop-de-loop. Like, we kept going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and that can be done well, but this was not done very well, I didn't think. And I wasn't that engaged with the characters. I wasn't that engaged with the themes. Meow. On BookTube. Wow. This is a Novel Bookstore by Lawrence Cosset. This is a Europa edition. This was translated from the original French. And it's a book about books. I was so psyched about this book. And it's kind of like this bookstore mystery novel love story. I don't know. There's too much going on. The characters were a little flat. I thought that the weird mystery story thing was unnecessary and weird. And I just think that it was trying too hard to appeal to far too many audiences, and it did not succeed in that regard. That's really all I have to say about this book. Lastly, I have an entire series of books. So, first of all, I did not read the Chronicles of Narnia when I was a child. I just read these last year. I think it was last year. And I read them all in the story order, not the publication order. The publication order is kind of weird, right? Yeah. Anyway, I read them all. And the first couple were good. And then it got not good. And I hated the last book. The last, 40 pages of the last book were so terrible I wanted to throw it across the room. But at that point, I was so close to being done with all 7 of these books that I was like, screw it, I'm just going to finish it. And I thought I was going to love it. You know, it's always, people talk about how much they love these books and how important they are to them. And I think maybe I came to the game a little too old. I think maybe it was a bad idea to read these. I should have just been like, read them as a child, don't read them at all. That's kind of how I feel about them. That's all. So those are some books that I thought I'd love and I really didn't love. Tell me about some books that you thought you'd love. If you've read any of these books, we can discuss them. Even if you liked them, that's okay. You're allowed to like things that I don't like. And I will see you next time. Bye!